$2,200 is the price they charge for the Yadea Trooper 1. Certainly not the cheapest moped style electric bike I've seen, but it does have full suspension. They say the battery is UL listed, which makes it safe. So in today's video, we're gonna review this bike and see if it's worth the money or not. First thing I can tell you about this bike compared to other moped style electric bikes I review is the box it comes in is substantially larger. I think we can just lift this thing off. Oh, not the TV. This thing just pops right off. This thing's like built already, dude. Looks like pretty much we just gotta throw on the handlebars. Trooper. Wonder what's down here. Oh, storage compartment. Put some goodies in there. Edges are a little bit sharp. Guessing this is the charger. Yes, sir. What are we working with? 3 amp charger. It's a good sign. So let's pop that battery off there and see what's in it. We'll check the user manual out later. And looks like pretty much all we gotta do is throw the pedals on this thing and the handlebars and we're ready. It's a 48 volt battery, 20 amp hour, 960 watt hours of energy, maximum discharge rate of 25 amps. When it's at full charge, 54.6 volts, you multiply that voltage number times a max of 25 amps. That's the maximum wattage you can get out of this battery. So about 1300 watts peak power output can be sent to this motor, which is branded Yadea. And a 20 amp hour battery pack divided by 3 amp charge rate, about 6.6 hours to charge this thing from empty to full. And I'm not gonna tell you to charge a battery with a charger that does not come with the bike, but according to the fine print here is you can run this thing in a max charge current of 4 amps, which would reduce your charge time. So we'll get that going now. And check this out. I see a little UL certified sticker down here. So Yadea is actually a larger company. It's actually kind of a rare thing to see. So let's take a look at the seat. This thing definitely looks a little bit wider and I mean, looks nice. Definitely soft. This sitting on top of that rear suspension, the monoshock, we'll have to see how it feels. And you get 1 gear on the back, so you know, these bikes, these moped style bikes aren't really intended for pedaling anyway. I mean, in my opinion, you kind of ride these more like motorcycles. Why even mess with having gears? I like it. Headlight comes pre-installed, which is very appreciated. And this bike does have a dual crown fork. Looks like suspension courtesy of RST. The fork is inverted, which is appreciated. Pretty typical CST BFT 20x4. Tires with like an off-road tread pattern. 30 PSI is the max recommended. Running them a bit lower will give you a little more squish, which shouldn't be a big problem on the rear because there is rear suspension, which is adjustable. It's a coil shock. You can rotate that piece right there. However, the front fork is not adjustable at all. Sometimes it can be easy to get hypnotized by power specs and overlook brakes. This bike does not overlook brakes. It has 4-piston hydraulic Tektro brakes with 180mm rotors. And you get the same thing front and rear. And in case you were wondering, you should definitely keep your feet out of wheel. The Tektro brake set is completed with Tektro levers up front. We get some round rubber grips. Actually feel pretty nice. A little bit higher quality than what I'm used to seeing. Thumb throttle is on the right. This thing's got a lot of range. We got a GZ3 display, headlights and horn. Got the ape hanger style rise bars. Sweep back, meh, just a little bit. They decided to put a reflector on there. You can take that off if you want. You also get a reflector on the back and plastic fenders and a light. Everybody's gonna be knowing you're riding a Yadea when you pass them, if you're actually passing people. It's listed as a class 2 750 watt 20 mile an hour e-bike. So we're gonna have to do everything we can to see if we can increase that top speed. So let's pop that battery on there, flip it on, let's power it up, see what we're working with here. So basic display shows us our battery life in terms of a bar. Kilometers per hour is the standard metrics here. What else we get here? Eco, mid, high. So 3 levels, or you could turn it completely off. I like the 3 level system. Other metrics, trip battery voltage, love to see that. 49.3 on a 48 volt battery. Probably about 60% charge or so. 54.6 is max on a 48 volt nominal battery. Odometer, trip. So pretty basic stuff. Battery voltage is the most useful to me because you can really see where your battery is. Oh duh, obviously here's your light. There we go. I'll flip it around and show you how bright it is in a moment. But what's the horn sound like? Surprise, surprise. Let's see if this tail light functions as a brake light. Indeed. And while we're back here, here's the numbers on the actual Yadea motor. 48 volt, 750 watt nominal. I'm sure it can do peaks much more than that. Probably 1300 peak roughly. And yeah, Yadea branded. Here's what a 6'5" dude with a 34 inseam looks like on this bike. Actually not that heavy really. I think it was list weight 77 pounds. Not terrible for a moped style e-bike. I like the wide seat. It feels nice. Width on the seat makes a huge difference. Here's my standover height. Seems like a comfortable position, and my pedal stroke, probably not gonna be pedaling this thing too much. I'm probably not the target height for this bike, but doesn't mean I'm not gonna have fun on it. Dual crown fork rotates pretty darn far. And again, man, really not too heavy of a bike. I mean, I don't really wanna be lifting it, but I certainly can. Here's a quick little peek of that headlight as promised. It's pretty bright in here today, so decently bright. I mean, what do you think? Ugh, can you rotate it? I don't think you can rotate it though. Oh, you can rotate it. And son of a gun, dude, the tire is not having a little bit of seating problems on this wheel. I'll fix that in just a minute, but first let's try this. Straight on high mode, let's see what it does. Full throttle. When you match that throttle, here's what it looks like. Showing 32 kilometers an hour, which is 20 miles an hour. Right, let's get this tire back on there. That's better. Let's roll. All right, dudes, let's take the Yadea Trooper out for a ride. We will not be bringing this manual because it does not show us how to modify the top speed, but I do know a dude that's gonna show us how to on the way. So let's get rolling here in stock form. Start with the Strava so we can track our distance, see how this thing performs. So the top speed is not unlocked yet, but we're gonna hop on this thing. I weigh 200 pounds. We have it on the highest pedal assist, thumb throttle only. What kind of torque we working with on the Yadea Trooper 01? So it is a decently strong hill climber. So throttle only, no pedaling, it's bringing us up to 20% grade. So first observations on this bike, I really like the seat. I love that it's like wide. A lot of these seats on these bikes come kind of narrow, and just wider seats are always better. Second observation, this thing sits relatively low to the ground, kind of lower standover height. Once you're on it, even for me, 6'5" dude, 34 inseam, it's comfortable. Now, of course, with that lower standover height, pedaling this bike for somebody this tall is not really gonna work out, especially considering there's just one gear on this bike. So let's go ahead and give this thing a try on pedal assist 0, does nothing at all. Eco, what kind of power does it give us? So it actually gives us all the power on eco mode on throttle. And before we modify the top speed, that brings us up to 32 kilometers per hour. That is 20 miles per hour. Brake levers feel nice on this thing. So let's say you want to actually pedal this thing. There's a little bit of a lag before it starts giving you power, and it'll bring you up to 15 kilometers per hour, which equates to 9 miles per hour. Let's bump that up to medium. So I actually like that this bike just gives you 3 levels of pedal assist, and it is a cadence sensor, so you can kind of just turn these pedals over and not actually apply any power whatsoever. It brings you up to 25 kilometers per hour, 15 miles per hour on medium. Oh, that was a nice little bump there going to high mode, and it gives you a pretty strong power all the way up to 20. In general, with these shorter wheels and like the lower stance on this bike, it feels relatively very nimble. And yeah, I love these Tektro brakes, man. These are some of the best for these budget moped style bikes. Not sure why they give us this reflector on here. So before we get out here on the fast road, we're gonna follow the instructions from our friend Mr. Central Driver. Thank you, buddy, for posting this. We're gonna unlock the top speed. In order to do that, you press these 2 buttons here, go on over to number 6, and you change this number to 02.5. Then you go over to 8 and change it from 45 up to the maximum, which is 100. Now, according to Mr. Central Driver, we should have the top speed unlocked, and hopefully it is, because there's a lot of fast moving cars out on this road. All right, looks like we're going over 20 miles an hour now, showing yellow light here, 28, 29, 30. According to GPS on my left hand, the onboard speedometer is showing I'm going 5.5 kilometers per hour. So apparently this is some sort of speedometer trick. Regardless of how it was achieved, I'll take it. So we'll go ahead and give it a 0 to 20 acceleration test here. We have to use GPS because speedometer does not read correctly. Ready, go. 9, 13, 15, 17, 19, 20. So, you know, pretty typical 750 watt performance on this bike. GPS does lag a little bit, so I'll try and compensate that for the numbers you see here on the screen. So we actually have a pretty decent tailwind today. Let's go ahead and see what kind of high speed we can hit. 25, 28, 29, 30, and that's about all we're gonna hit. 30 miles an hour, maybe 31, 30 it is. So a couple things I am noticing about this bike. It's definitely for like a shorter individual. I feel a little crammed. Let's try this hill real quick, see if we can make it up. Oh, not quite enough power. And the other thing I'm noticing is there is a little bit of throttle lag from the time you press that throttle. So watch, ready, go. It can get moving though a little bit. We'll try it out there on the flat sand in a little bit. So let's see how this full suspension feels. The seat, you know, it's wide, but the seat's kind of hard. Oh man, I don't really like sitting down on that so much. So I honestly don't have a great deal of confidence in this thing in the sand. And this suspension, I can feel these bumps. Let's give this thing a try, get a little running start. Oh yeah, we can kind of get through here with a running start, but kind of sizzles out a little bit for the sand. So we can get back though with a little bit of boost. Let's give it one more try here. What's that, some sort of Saran? See if I can give it a little pedaling. So I mean, it's just one gear on this, and yeah, not a sand bike. The walk of shame, the walk of shame. Holy crap, dude, that guy is killing it. I've never seen somebody doing that on the rings here. All right, let's go try this on some hills. Here's the hill we're gonna do. It's 85 feet tall, 12% grade. We'll give it a go. Battery is sitting at 50.1 volts rolling into this hill, and despite the way this bike is set to go 20 miles an hour out of the box, it seems to be really happy cruising at high speeds. Whoa. Although, yeah, it can climb this hill just fine, dude. We're going 2.2 kilometers an hour. That's not true. We're going more like 10, I think 15. Hey. Here's a Super 73, we get a little competition. All right, let's see what we can do from a stop here. Super 73 is ahead of us. I don't know which model that was, but oh shoot, I don't have GPS out. Dang, 21 miles per hour on the GPS. 23, 24. So this thing is fairly powerful for sure. It just kind of limits your current, like when you're going really slow. Like when you're coming from like a stop, it kind of like ramps on the power just a little bit. So like riding in the sand, it doesn't like want to do that going really slow. If anybody's actually new here, we were just down there on that bike path. Yeah, dude, this motor just seems happy, like running at like higher speeds, like, you know, 15 to 30. It's like, let's go. So how are the brakes? Pretty good. Oh yeah. You find yourself in a pinch and you need to stop for about 20. These brakes got your back, dude. They are hydraulic with 180 millimeter rotors. Feel nice in your hand. And personally, I'm a big fan of the Tektro levers. They just feel nice. So final thoughts on the Yadea Trooper, some pros and cons. One pro is this is a huge brand. They've been around for a long time. So you're not buying from, you know, some like one-off knockoff company on the internet. Another thing I really like about this bike is the wide seat. It's not particular, you know, it's a little bit hard, but it is full suspension and a wide seat does make a difference. Cons, for me, you know, top speed is 20 miles per hour unless you get in there and hack those settings. But once you do hack those, then, you know, you can get up to 30 miles an hour. Another con is this is a $2,200 electric moped style bike. Now, depending on who you compare that to, that could be expensive or cheap. So if you do want to grab one, any sort of discount I can offer you will be linked in the description box below this video. But let's head on home, see what the final range is on this battery. We're gonna take a different way home today. Some sort of festival going on here on Ebike today. I don't know, can we ride a bike through here? Sure, absolutely. These dudes are jamming. I'm used to feeling like a giant everywhere I go. Today I feel like a midget out on this bike. Dang, look at this Bronco. So after about an hour, 48 minutes ride time, 19 and about a quarter mile, we are showing 47.5 volts on the display, showing 2 out of 5 bars. I say, yeah, that's just under 50% roughly for a 48 volt battery. As expected for a 20 amp hour, 48 volt battery pack. All around, pretty decent feeling bike. If you want to grab one for 2,200 bucks, buy through the link below in the description box. However, if that's a little too much money or if you're looking for something else, watch this video next. Catch you over there.